What's up, guys? Matt Brown here for The Lines, joined as always by Mo Nuwwarah. And yes, it is baseball season right around the corner, and this is when we're getting in our futures bets. So me and Mo decided to dive in, take a look at the Rookie of the Year markets, and see if there was anything that piqued our interest, and maybe even a bet to throw into the account or two. Mo, we are officially past football season. It is behind us, and I'm not a huge college basketball guy, and, so it's baseball season for me.
Yeah, I've been excited to dive back in. It's fun for me every year, digging up the preseason bets and sweating them throughout the whole season. And historically, I've done better in baseball than any other sport. So it's my favorite thing to bet on. It's my favorite thing to handicap. I have more fun watching the NFL, but betting-wise, baseball is the cream of the crop for me.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So, guys, we're going to start out with the NL, a little less exciting of a market here for the NL than it is over on the AL side of things. You have Roki Sasaki, who is sitting at plus 225 over at DraftKings. Dylan Cruz, plus 350. Matt Shaw is plus 425. Bubba Chandler is at 9-1. Jordan Lawler, 11-1. And then everyone else is 18-1 or longer. These are, again, just DraftKings odds. As always, we say shop around to make sure you were getting the best price here. Mo, we were talking before we started recording here. It's a little less exciting of a market because, not only is one guy plus 225, but it's also a dude that's already pedigreed, already a dude that, like, we know is very, very likely to step in and have a lot of success, right off of the bat with this. And so I think we could make a case for Cruz, who is definitely going to be playing every day and all of that. But, I mean, at the end of the day, Sasaki probably kind of has to fall flat for these other guys to have a chance.
Yeah, and we're talking about a pitcher, so it's certainly no guarantees. Should Roki Sasaki be the favorite? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he has one of the best pedigrees of any pitcher to ever come from a foreign league and enter the MLB. So I think it's obvious why he's the favorite, but at the same time, his track record did get a little bumpier last year. My understanding is he was quite a bit worse last year. I mean, still great. He was still one of the better pitchers in the Japanese league, but he lost several ticks of velocity and maybe struggled with some injuries. And we know what the Dodgers' history of pitcher injuries has looked like the last few years. They don't seem to prioritize durability all that much. And would it be remotely surprising if Sasaki spent some time on the IL? Definitely not. So I wouldn't come anywhere near saying he's close to a lock, but you understand why he's the favorite.
You understand why he's the favorite, and two, I'm just not going to bet him. I'm not going to ever bet a plus 225 in something like this, right? So not even close to even consideration for me for the card. Dylan Cruz at plus 350. I mean, so he's going to play every day. He is going to hit at the top of the lineup for Washington. So he's going to have a lot of counting stat, at least potential, right? Like whether it be scoring runs, being able to knock in some guys, he's going to steal some bases. Superstar at LSU, a dude that, flew through the minors, and here we are, 1 year from being drafted already, is going to start, likely to hit second or third in that lineup actually there for this Nationals team. But again, like Mo, it's 350 for a guy who's going to be playing his, really got a cup of coffee last year. That's it. Like we didn't see much of him in the pros. Don't think I can get there either as good as Cruz is.
Yeah, I'm with you there on Cruz. Playing in relative obscurity in Washington, I mean, a team that's not likely to be in contention, and really didn't light it up in the minors, if we're being honest. 125 WRC plus at AA, 106 at AAA. That's not screaming to me that he's just ready to come in and be a star right away. So
yeah,
I like, he was fine last year in 31 games. Deserved better as far as his batted balls, it looks like. 325 ex-Woba, only 283 on his actual, and his strikeout rate was well within reason. So, probably better things coming, but yeah, I'm more interested in Shaw out of the top tier, to be honest with you. That he's, if you're looking at the chalk here, he's the play I would make in the NL. I just think the third base job is ready to be won. It's the opposite situation of Cruz, where the market is expecting him to be playing for an also-ran, while Shaw is going to be doing what he's doing for the divisional favorite. The Cubs pretty clearly have the most talent in the NL Central, I think. And Shaw actually killed it in the minors, 142 WRC plus at AAA. Didn't strike out more than 20% of the time at any minor league stop. His projections are already above average. The competition is pretty weak there. I'm seeing a bench that's got several third base options, but it's like John Birdie, Vidal Brujan. I mean, these guys are as unexciting as it gets. So the job should be Shaw's, and he is going to be playing for a contender. And if any of the top guys are worth a bet, I think it's actually probably Shaw.
Yeah, I think Shaw's pretty interesting for me as well. If you look, as you mentioned, a well-rounded guy as it is, he's going to steal bases. You're going to get like a decent amount of counting stats from Shaw. And I also, as you look at this lineup for the Cubs, right, he has a chance to work his way up to hitting higher in the lineup, likely to hit 7th or 8th out of the gate. But like, you start to look, and I mean, Dansby Swanson's hitting 5th right now. Nico Horner's hitting 6th right now. These are dudes that easily could be swapped and hitting 7th and 8th in the lineup should things not go well. And Shaw could find himself hitting just right in the heart of that lineup too, right? And so that would only increase what we like about him and the opportunities presented to him.
Yeah, and like I said, playing for a contender, that gives you a bit of a boost too. And not super impressed with, I mean, it's a deep lineup, but if Shaw comes out and is looking like a star, he's probably going to be hitting 5th by midseason. So I don't think it's the worst, but again, it's like you said, looking at these like plus 400 type of bets in markets with this much variance, which Rookie of the Year probably has as much variance as any futures market, especially in baseball.
Let's remember last year, the NL Rookie of the Year didn't break camp with the team, right, and came up and all that. Now, Paul Skeens, I understand, is like a unicorn and a freak of nature. But, again, just to kind of play into what you're talking about with variance, like, I mean, the guy wasn't even up to begin the year.
It's just not like the most attractive way to approach these markets. I much prefer looking at long shots in these. So I can't say that I would or will be betting Shaw. But if anybody did, I don't think it's the worst.
Yeah. I have one guy that is not on the card yet, but I'm going to keep an eye on, and it's playing kind of into the thing that we saw with Skeens last year, is whether Bubba Chandler ends up making the opening day rotation for the Pirates or not, because right now he's too short, in my opinion, at 9-1, but we saw when Skeens didn't break camp last year and what all of that. Like, he started out, if you remember, Mo, he moved all the way to 15-1 in the market, because it's like, hey, you're not in you're in the minors, right? Like, and so if you're in the minors, you're whatever. So I'm kind of hoping Bubba Chandler doesn't make the opening day roster and this 9-1 turns into like a 14, 15, 16-1, because that's just what the markets do. They overreact to stuff like this, where he is coming up this year for sure and is going to pitch for the Pirates a lot for sure this year. He's a number 15 overall prospect in all of baseball. And if it wasn't for Paul Skeens, we'd all be talking about Bubba Chandler in the Pittsburgh organization instead. So that's kind of where I'm hoping this ends up going down. And so that's kind of my strategy for the NL is I'd like to take just a bigger number on Chandler. I think he gets called up fairly soon and is able to get the stats that we need for him to win an award like this.
Yeah, I didn't look too deep into Chandler, but the Pirates are a team that strike me as not going to be in a hurry to promote anyone. I don't really see them being in contention. So I'm with you that the number's not where I would want to bet it right now. I did have an eye on a couple of pitchers as well. if people wanted to take some longer shots. I think there's two that jumped out at me a bit farther down the board, a lot farther down the board. One of them is Rhett Lauder from the Reds. Not one I think you can advocate betting for right now because his elbow is barking a bit, it sounds like. That's a situation where you need to wait to make sure that he's going to not go under the knife, because then you're just wasting your money.
Right. We see this. Yeah, we see this often where it's kind of like starts out with that's whatever.
Yeah,
and
I'm
then
a
we hear
little
2 weeks later,
uncomfortable. 2 weeks later, you find out the guy's having Tommy John. But look, the number's not going to move if it turns out he's healthy, because he's still probably going to come along slowly. So it's not like, even if they announced he was healthy tomorrow, it's not like he would bump up to 20-1 or anything. It's still the Reds. He's pitching in a bad ballpark. He's got a lot to overcome. He wasn't great when he came up last year. Below average swinging strikes, and could have his ERA inflated, but it's still a name to watch. I think they're at 45-1. I'm a little bit interested. And then the other one for me is Brandon Sproat. He's a better prospect than Rhett Lauder. He's like an elite prospect. Lauder's more of a top 50 type. Brandon Sproat's more of like a top 25 type of guy. He was he was a bit buried last year, but Christian Scott had Tommy John. He's out of the way. And then this Mets pitching staff is kind of a mess already. You got Frankie Montas and Sean Manaea already starting the year on the IL. And then the names that are in front of him, I mean, they're far from sure things. David Peterson, this guy has been back and forth between the rotation and the bullpen over the past few years. He was better last year, but absolutely no way you can count on that continuing given his track record. Griffin Canning, he's been below average for years. Paul Blackburn, he's basically just an innings eater. And then you have Clay Holmes, who's a complete wild card. You're transitioning somebody from the bullpen. We have seen some really big success stories like Seth Lugo in recent years. We've also seen some absolute blow-ups like A.J. Puck last year. So there's no way to know how that's going to go. I could easily see Brandon Sproat being in the rotation. And then, again, you're playing for a very good team. He killed it at Double-A and has a really nice projection.
Yeah, and circling back to Lauder, I looked at him a little bit as well. As long as he's healthy, I do think putting a long number in on him is at least somewhat interesting, because you look at the rotation for the Reds, and it's like Nick Martinez is at the bottom of the rotation. Andrew Abbott's at the bottom of the rotation. Like, they're counting on big innings from Brady Singer. Like, you're putting a low strikeout dude in Cincinnati. Like, things could go badly for Brady Singer, like, pretty quickly, And so I think that so long as Lauder is healthy, he is definitely going to get the call and at least the opportunity. And at the number that we're likely to get him at, as you mentioned, it's kind of like no harm, no foul, right? I mean, it's such a long shot. You don't have to put a lot of money down on it. But if we get the opportunity for a dude that is super pedigreed, as you mentioned, one of the top prospects in all of baseball, if you watch him in college, I don't know if anybody out there watching this video, but like at Wake Forest was just like insane, and so this is another dude that I saw that I'm like, okay, that there is a path, right? Can we draw a line to it actually happening? And with him, you can draw the line to it actually happening.
Yeah, that's how I feel. Like, when you look at the way Rhett Lauder played last year, it's not rookie of the year type of material, but in the majors anyway. But this is still a guy who, like you said, was a top pick and was too good for Double-A. So all you're looking for is some kind of leap at that point. And with a guy who was drafted where he was drafted and has the sort of prospect pedigree he does, that's well within reason.
Over in the AL, we have a guy that has made it to the majors, did have some success in the majors, and a guy that if you've been following prospects for a long time, you've heard the name Jason Dominguez. He has been talked about basically since he was 12 years old. So he is plus 380 over in the AL. That said, when he was given an opportunity last year, ended up getting hurt. So he is coming back from injury here for the Yankees. Roman Anthony at plus 550. Christian Campbell 8-1. Jacob Wilson 8-1. Jackson Jobe, odds have fallen a lot on him. He's down to 9-1. Christian Moore 10-1. Will Wagner 12-1. Kobe Mayo 13-1. And then we're 18-1 or longer after that. You can tell much more guys in the single digits over here. Mo, lots of interesting stuff and lots of interesting angles there in the AL too.
Yeah, absolutely. AL race looking much more wide open. I did make an early play here. I like Kumar Rocker from Texas. I bet 20-1 here.
He has a bet in for me.
Yeah,
as well.
I like Kumar Rocker. I think there's something big to overcome here for sure, and that's innings. I mean, you're looking at a guy who threw 36 innings last year, so getting to the sort of total value that Rookie of the Year is going to require, he's going to have to make a big jump. That being said, we just watched Garrett Crochet go from, 40 innings or whatever to 150, something like that last year. So we know this is doable. And the thing about Rocker that makes me think Texas is going to be willing to push a bit here, number one, the team wants to win now. They're projected at the top of the division or close by all of the publicly available numbers. And he's not like some 22-year-old future ace like Jackson Jobe. Kumar Rocker is 25. He is ready to contribute now. And the way how wide open the AL is, it might only take 100 or so innings, which is where he's projected for him to get a couple of WAR and make the sort of mark that was going to put him right in the race. I mean, above average projections, 3.86 xFIP in 3 MLB starts last year with an above average swinging strike rate. This guy looks ready. I also like when a guy has like one kind of fallback skill that he knows he can rely on, and that's going to be the slider for Kumar Rocker. He has an 80 grade slider, got a ton of whiffs with it last year, so I think he can just come up, lean on that. He's not currently penciled into the rotation, but man, it's pretty hard to argue that he's not one of the top 5 pitchers here. I mean, John Gray and Tyler Mahle, pretty likely he's better than at least one of them. And then you have Jacob deGrom, which
I was about to say,
who knows?
Let's not forget. Yeah, it's like Jacob deGrom is going to be awesome for 10 starts, and then that's going to get, he's 37 years old. I mean, like, it's just is what it is. I mean, he's 37-year-olds. Yeah. So same, everything Mo just said. It's the exact logic for me with Kumar Rocker. I think there's a non-zero chance he breaks camp in the rotation anyway, but if not, it will be soon thereafter. And so we're not worried about that at all. If the number drifts, I'll probably rebet him. So like I'll be okay doing that with him. Like you said, I mean, we're talking 60 grade fastball, 60 grade curveball, like you said, 70 to 80 grade slide. I mean, like this guy's just got everything you're looking for. And like you say, he's 25. So it's not like it's time. This is when guys come up and they pitch in the majors. So I love Rocker in this market. The reason I said the number has moved greatly on Jackson Jobe, I bet Jackson Jobe about a month ago. It was double what it is now. He has looked awesome in spring training so far. All they talk about is how ridiculous all his new pitches are. And I mean, he's throwing this sweeper now, Mo. I'm sure you've seen the highlights, or it's like, it's dropping a foot and moving like 24 inches side. It's like the most obscene thing like going on right now and all this. So I can't bet him at 9-1. I wanted to be able to come on here and when he was, 18-1 and say like, hey, this dude is going to start. He's going to be ridiculous. 18-1's a gift. People started paying attention. It's down to 9-1. So I can't really recommend it there, but he's awesome. I think he's going to be really good.
Yeah, and Jobe is ready to provide over 100 innings for sure. I mean, using the rule of thumb that you want to usually go up about 30 innings, that would put him around 120, which is more than enough, I think.
Yeah.
The only question is how aggressive do the Tigers want to be? He is a 22-year-old budding ace, like I was saying. Kumar Rocker is not. So I don't know how hard they're going to want to push, and they also have so many pitchers.
My theory is, I think my theory behind this is, and I could be wrong, is just I think the Tigers think their time is now, right? Like that, like this is the time where they can really establish kind of being the team in that division. And if this is the guy they can kind of get you over the hump, then maybe so. I mean, look, he's still going to have to overcome Kenta Maeda is in whatever, Casey Mize, who's never lived up to all the hype that was around him over the last 5 years. So, I mean, granted, the first 3 spots in the rotation are dead. Skubal, Flaherty, and Olsen is done. So he can only work in over Mize or Maeda. So that is one of the things against him as well, which is another reason why I can't really go with the 9-1, because he's going to need one of those dudes to fall off.
Yeah, but again, like with the Rangers, that might be better than 50-50. I mean,
yeah,
it's like you said, these guys are not close to being rotation locks, and we already saw Maeda move to the bullpen for a while last year. I mean,
yeah,
he's 37 almost. He's on his last legs. Job, yeah, I mean, should the Tigers be going for it? Yeah, I think they should be. I mean, marginal wins might matter more in the AL Central than any other division this year.
Yep.
So
yep,
they're definitely going to be in the mix on paper.
Is there any other name that stood out to you, or any other bet that you're considering or did put in?
A few that I was looking at. I looked into Christian Campbell a bit. Like, on paper, he might be their best second baseman, but a lot of it depends on what they end up doing with Devers, the much discussed third base gate over there, whatever we want to call it. We'll see how that goes. Honestly, if I had to pick one more, the name I landed on was a different Tiger, and that's Jace Young. Kind of similar to what you were talking about with some of the NL guys that are already penciled into a spot like Dylan Cruz. I'm already seeing Jace Young penciled in as the starting third baseman again on a playoff contender in this case. We think they should be giving him every chance to succeed, considering not only his prospect pedigree as a former first rounder, but not a very impressive collection of hitters in Detroit at this point. So my hang-ups there, for people who haven't looked at, he's 25-1.
Yeah.
I don't know if I mentioned that already. So another longer shot, but my hang-ups here would be that he didn't crush AAA. He didn't crush it last year in the majors. He was definitely a below-average hitter. Only 94 plate appearances, so hard to say for sure. But when you have a 31% K rate, I'm a bit worried that he's not ready for major league pitching.
I wanted very badly to put in a Kobe Mayo ticket, but I just can't quite get there. I fell in love with this dude in the minors, just like this ridiculous raw power this kid had. And I'm like, okay, this is a dude that could come up and maybe get enough counting stats, just from a homers and RBI standpoint, that we kind of overlook what might be a mediocre average and all of that. But he looked like ass when he came up, last year. It doesn't even look like he's guaranteed to even get a position this year with all of that. And so at the number currently, and I think I said 13 at DraftKings or something, Kobe Mayo, if Kobe Mayo's 25, it's a lot more attractive, right? I mean, he's 13, and I just can't get there for a dude that, I don't even know if he's going to get his opportunity early on.
Yeah, I can't do it with an Oriole, really. I mean, it's just so hard to break into that lineup. Yeah. That lineup is so good and so deep, full of corner defender power guys. I don't know how Kobe Mayo separates himself from these guys at this point, so it's just hard to see a route to significant playing time. And yeah, like you said, he absolutely sucked last year. I remember scooping him in my hometown league, which I still ended up winning it, but man, those were the worst at-bats I got all year on my team.
Yeah, it was I think what we're leaving here with is look, Kumar Rocker's still 20-1. I like that bet. I think it gets even better for us if for whatever reason he isn't there at the very beginning of the season. He will be there, don't worry. And if this thing goes to 25, 30, whatever it is, because the market reacts when guys don't make the opening day roster, awesome for us. I think it's actually better for us. So do like him a ton. If Job, for whatever reason, doesn't and his number drifts, I think that there is some upside there with him. Again, he's awesome. So I just believe in the talent with him. But at 9-1, can't get there. And like I said, with Kobe Mayo, just like Mo laid it out perfectly, the Orioles are so loaded, so stacked that they don't, any other team would be forcing him into the lineup just because of what he's done in the minors and all of this. But like, they're like, whatever, they're cool with it because they're just so ridiculously stacked. So can't do it there with him. Guys, we'll do throughout the course of the season more of these as these numbers change, as guys' roles change. Hell, maybe we'll do another one of these even before the season starts, whenever we have at least a little bit more solidified idea of where these guys are going to be and what's going on. But that's where we're at right now. That's what we like right now. And of course, opinions can always change. This is absolutely free. So go ahead, hit that subscribe button down below. Do appreciate all the support here that you guys are giving us. Really growing this channel a ton over on thelines.com, upper right-hand corner. Be sure and take a look at the Discord as well, in which we're in there talking all sports year round. That too, absolutely free. For Mo, I am Matt. Good luck on all your Rookie of the Year bets.